Hey, it's time for another Christmas update. This is another text that is all in English about this year, 2025, and what's gone well. Hola a todos, buenos días, bienvenidos otra vez aquí al podcast de Aprende Más Inglés, el mejor podcast de todo el mundo mundial para aprender inglés. Como acabo de decir, hoy tenemos el típico mensaje navideño. Está en la web aprendemasingles.com/399. aprendemasingles.com/399. Ahí puedes leer el texto en inglés y tienes enlaces a más cosas también. También hay fotos de algunas de las cosas que estoy mencionando. aprendemasingles.com/399. Seguimos con el texto. It's been a busy year around here. The last few days of 2024, I was in Dubai with my wife's family. Traffic in Dubai is insane, especially on big holidays. So we didn't go out, we just celebrated New Year's at the house. It was very relaxing. A couple of days after that, my wife and I went to Abu Dhabi for our flight back to Barcelona. This was my first time in the Middle East and quite a bit better than I expected. The food was great, and I liked Abu Dhabi more than Dubai. We stayed for several days, then came back to Barcelona for Epiphany. In March, I published a book about phrasal verbs. It's sort of an update and improvement on my first book, and I think it turned out pretty well. It's called Phrasal Verbs en Inglés, los más usados, and you can get it on Amazon. In total, it looks like I've published about 19 books over the last 10 or 12 years. Some of them have multiple editions. Like I said, I keep myself busy. In 2025, I also made an episode of the Aprende Más Inglés podcast every Monday, all year long. We are currently on episode 399, so I've been at this for quite some time now. Most of the episodes are on YouTube if you would like to listen. Speaking of YouTube, I also made a lot of videos over there. You should definitely check out my YouTube channel if you haven't recently. If I've counted correctly, I made about 35 videos for YouTube this year. On the web, there's a pretty good one about the difference between work and job in English. For example, over the summer, my wife and I mostly stayed in Barcelona, but in October, her company wanted her to go to a conference in Las Vegas, so we planned a trip to the U.S. She had never been to the U.S. before. Of course, I grew up there, and I decided to go and show her around a bit. We went to New York and Phoenix together. Phoenix is my hometown, out in the Arizona desert. I also went to Portland, Oregon, to see my dad. It was an experience. I had barely ever been to New York before, so I enjoyed going to the museums there. Other than that, it was very expensive. Anyway, it was good seeing my parents. My wife liked the U.S. a lot, but we both prefer living in Spain. When we got back to Spain, I received some good news from the government. I had finally been granted Spanish nationality. This is something I had been working on for many years. When I moved to Spain in 2004, I quickly decided I was going to live here forever, if possible. But Spanish bureaucracy is slow, and it took a long time to renew my residence permits, pay taxes, and finally get my Spanish passport. A few weeks later, we went back to the U.S., to a town in Florida. Again, this was because of my wife's company. We stayed at a resort that had excellent views of the sunset every evening. Florida was much better than I imagined. We saw dolphins out on the bay, and we were able to visit some typical American things, like a massive Walmart store. It was authentic Americana, and I loved it. Within Spain, I traveled to Madrid a couple of times, as well as to places in Catalonia like Lleida, Ripoll, and even to a wedding outside the town of Olot. I'm also finally making a serious effort to learn Catalan after several years of living in Barcelona. When I was younger, I would often celebrate Christmas with Spanish friends who would play the official Christmas message from the King on the TV. First, it was King Juan Carlos I, then it was King Felipe VI. It's been a long time since I've seen the official Christmas message from the King. I hope Felipe is doing okay. Now that I'm Spanish, I couldn't be happier. It's been quite an adventure writing this blog and my others since 2010. With any luck, I'll be here for a while longer. And I couldn't do it all without you, my readers and listeners. So thanks very much, and I hope you have a great Christmas and New Year. See you in 2026. Y eso es, voy a tener un par de semanas libres aquí, o sea que no va a haber un nuevo capítulo del podcast la semana que viene. En todo caso, mándame tus preguntas para el capítulo 400. Voy a preparar un nuevo capítulo con preguntas de los oyentes, así que encuéntrame en Instagram si quieres. Soy Daniel Welsh con mi nombre tal cual y me puedes enviar un mensaje. También si tienes mi email. Si no tienes mi email, entra en aprendemasingles.com/suscribir. Entra tu email y recibirás mis lecciones gratuitas por correo electrónico. Ahí tendrás mi email para conversar conmigo si quieres. aprendemasingles.com/suscribir. También estoy en Instagram, como dije, en Facebook, etc. Me puedes encontrar en casi cualquier sitio. Si estás escuchando eso en Spotify o en YouTube, también tienes la opción de dejar un comentario. Y ahí podrías hacer tu pregunta para el capítulo 400 del podcast. Nada más por hoy, que pases un muy buen día. Feliz Navidad, feliz Año Nuevo. Gracias por escuchar como siempre y nos vemos en el 2026.